starting players and sitting them. We like the new animation. Michael Florio, how do you feel about that?
That is so cool. Like, you got graphic team. You guys knocked it out of the park with this one.
Florio moving and shaking, crushing the quarterback starts and sits last week. Told you who to play over Kyler Murray, hit everything. Josh Dobbs, we got multiple fan bases clamoring for this man right now. 2-0 playing for the Minnesota Vikings. Are you starting the Pastronaut here in Week 11?
There's no way I am not starting Josh Dobbs. Not only has he come to Minnesota and just picked up where Kirk Cousins left off, putting up MVP numbers through the air, over 24 fantasy points in both of his games, but he is running a whole lot. Second most rushing yards, third most rushing touchdowns amongst quarterbacks. He routinely goes for over 40 rushing yards, which might not sound like a whole lot, but in fantasy land, that equates to 100 passing yards. So that's why quarterbacks who get it done with their legs are such a cheat code. The Pastronaut is one of them right now.
Yeah, Josh, hit me up. We got some merchandising, branding opportunities. You know, launch, all that stuff, escape velocity. That Gallahorn go. Trevor Lawrence wanted to escape the 49ers defense. He couldn't. It was a bad game. Are we starting him this week in a bounce back, Mike?
We are not. We are sitting the prince that was chosen, or whatever the name is from Game of Thrones. The prince that was promised. That's what it is. Trevor Lawrence, though, yeah, last week you could name multiple backup quarterbacks. They all scored more fantasy points than Trevor Lawrence did. But it wasn't just a one-week thing. He's topped 18 fantasy points once. He ranks 17th in passing yards, 22nd in touchdowns, and he has struggled this year against man coverage. The Titans run that more at a higher rate than league average. And if you were wondering some of those backup quarterbacks, Tommy DeVito, Taylor Heineke, both Falcons, both Saints, and Clayton Tune all outscored him.
Wow, this is a rough one. I made Trev's eyes purple so he could be like Prince Rhaegar. Things are going to work out better for Trev than they did for Rhaegar Targaryen. Let's get to Kyler. Welcome back, Kyler Murray, starting or sitting him in Week 11.
I said to take a wait-and-see approach from him last week. He looked like Kyler. Oh, no, wait. We are starting. I almost pushed the wrong button. We are starting Kyler Murray. I almost gave myself a heart attack there. Look, I said if Kyler looked like Kyler, you have an every-week starter on your hands. And not only did he look like Kyler throwing the ball, he still looks like he's out there with a mushroom in Mario Kart and everyone else is at normal speed. He just moves faster than everyone else on the field, and he scored 17 without a touchdown, but Brown dropped one. Wilson had one that was a half yard short, and the tush push went to Clayton Tune. So there is so much opportunity there for Kyler to put up a big game and in what could be a potential shootout between two very high-powered offenses.
That third down rush essentially won the game, and it's like, oh, he's Kyler. He's already back. Welcome back.
He's so
Kyler. Yeah, it's like everybody else is on 50cc, and he's running on 250. James Cook. We're going to have a new person calling the plays. Are we starting James Cook?
I got my wish with a new play caller in Buffalo, but we are still sitting James Cook this week. Look, he fumbled this past week. You all were watching on Monday Night Football. He got benched. He came back. He had a long run. He fumbled again.
But Joe and Troy said the fumble made him try harder, Mike.
Yeah. He's going to have plenty of motivation. He's going to need it this week because Latavius Murray is eating his work. I think Leonard Fournette, this is going to be the week that we see him. And the Jets have been stingy to running backs both on the ground and in the passing game, and they've allowed just 3 touchdowns to running backs this year. So splitting work, the fumble issues last week, all of that just kind of going against Jimmy Cook this week.
All right, so a sit for James Cook. There are plenty of people. We've heard your frustrations regarding one Tony Pollard. We're dealing with it too. What are we doing this week?
I have Tony Pollard in multiple leagues, and I'm not even thinking twice. I am continuing to start Tony Pollard. I know he disappointed you last week. Every single Cowboy except for Tony Pollard scored a touchdown last week. But this is about the matchup. The Panthers have allowed the 5th most rushing yards, the most touchdowns, and the most fantasy points to running backs this year. So I know he's been frustrating, but you're not going to play him in this matchup? Come on, you're starting Tony Pollard.
On the other side of that coin, the past couple of weeks have been the Rashad White weeks. Are we riding Rashad White for a 3rd consecutive week?
The internet and you watching TV are going to call me crazy, but I think you can try to sit Rashad White this week. Now look, I have a league like our Fantasy Live League. My only other option is Dameon Pierce because injuries and bye weeks, so I'm starting Rashad White there. But if you have options, Just remember what Rashad White was doing early in the year against tough matchups. Lately, he's been awesome, but he's had a string of good matchups. Early in the year in tougher ones, he was routinely giving you single-digit fantasy points. And the 49ers, they've allowed the third fewest rushing yards to running backs, and they just shut down Travis Etienne, who I think is a much better running back than Rashad White.
Yeah, definitely a better running game as well. You like those. We got more starts and sits coming up later on in our show, the wide receivers and the tight ends. But you want more quarterbacks and running backs? Here we go. Free of charge. Jared Goff, Sam Howell smash starts, as is Saquon and B-Rob, who was last week's RB1. Geno, Matt Stafford going on the bench against each other as our Alexander Madison playing against that resurgent Broncos defense, and Khalil Herbert taking on the Lions in the NFL. And Florio, let's start with one of the better wide receiver options that was kind of a surprise, Adam Thielen. We starting him?
He has been awesome for most of this year, but he's fallen back down to earth, so I'm going to say sit Adam Thielen this week. He has less than 20 fantasy points in his last 2 games combined. The Cowboys have allowed the fewest catches and second fewest fantasy points per game to wide receivers. They also allow the second fewest catch rate to slot receivers, and that is where Thielen runs 2/3 of his routes. Plus, this Cardinals defense can make life very tough on Bryce Young this week. So if you have another option you like, I would get him out of your lineup.
All right, let's look at some of those other options, perhaps like Scary Terry. Are we starting Scary Terry in week 11?
Must start Scary Terry. He's playing the New York Giants, and get this, in his career against the Giants, he averages 18.5 fantasy points against them. He has scored at least 13 in every single game against them, and he plays them twice a year. You see on the screen 8 or more targets in 5 straight. I know he's coming off of a down week, but he had been very consistent before that, and the Giants just got absolutely torched against the Cowboys and their receivers. You have to play Terry McLaurin this week.
He's a must start, as you can see by my spectacular handwriting. Shout out to Brookwood Forest Elementary School. For that, George Pickens, week 11. Are we starting the Steelers number 1?
No, we are sitting George Pickens. Remember when you used to play catch with like your younger sibling or something, and you would just keep telling him to run downfield and you'll eventually throw it? That's how they use George Pickens in Pittsburgh. He has ran the 3rd most go routes, which is basically just running a streak down the sideline. And the issue, though, is his quarterback has completed 4 deep passes this year, and then the Browns, they've allowed the 4th fewest explosive pass plays and the 3rd fewest fantasy points to receivers. A lot going wrong for Pickens right now.
Yeah, he's getting his cardio in, though, so congratulations for that, George. Let's get to some tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, offensive shift. Are we still starting the rookie phenom?
We are still starting Dalton Kincaid, and this might be the last time that I can include him here because it's just becoming way too obvious. Over 15 fantasy points in 4 straight games. I already think he is a tier 2 tight end that you want to start each and every week. He has been a top 8 fantasy tight end in each of his last 4 weeks. And the Jets, I know they're tough on receivers, but they've allowed the most touchdowns to tight ends. And with them being so tough on the perimeter, we could see a lot more stuff schemed over the middle for Dalton Kincaid.
All right, that's one Dalton that's starting. Let's go to another Dalton. It's the Houston Texan, Dalton Schultz. Are we starting him this week?
2 Daltons enter, 1 leaves. No, we are starting both of the Daltons. They could both just get into your lineup. There's enough room for both of them. He has averaged 15 fantasy points per game since week 4, and he's topped 11 fantasy points 6 times in that span. His quarterback leads the league in passing yards per game. Yeah, he has the occasional down game here or there. Which tight end doesn't? You start him with confidence each week moving forward.
Yeah, no more of this. Hey, he's touchdown dependent. So is everybody. That starts and sits with Michael F. Florio. And, in fact, no. I ended it too soon. Because we got more. Jordan Addison, Rasheed Rice both starts. Jake Ferguson, who again is in that range of just starting every time. And then Cole Kmet still in history. Gabe Davis, Calvin Ridley, Cade Otton, and Gerald Everett all going on Florio's bench.